It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. Y'all, it's a Monday and we are starting a new week here on the channel. And normally we do a metal Monday on Mondays, but today is a very special Monday, y'all. Today is June 6th, and that means it is the anniversary of D-Day. And we wanted to do an episode today that focuses on this anniversary, this important anniversary, with a song that speaks to the invasion and its importance in history. So we were looking over the last week or so for a song that would be specific to this day. And actually, one of the best ones that we found was called The Longest Day by Iron Maiden. However, I have reacted to that one already. In fact, it was our Memorial Day episode last year in 2021. So we were looking for other songs that would be specifically about D-Day, and we found some other good ones, but the one that really sparked my curiosity is this song called The Shores of Normandy, and it's written by Jim Radford. And a special shout out to our friend Metal Mark. Thank you, Mark, for sending this one in to us for this day. Very much appreciated. So today, June 6th, 2022, is the 78th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. It was the largest amphibious invasion in military history. It was years in the planning. It was called Operation Overlord, and along the Normandy coast, the beachfronts were codenamed Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. And in wave after wave after wave, more than 150,000 brave troops stormed the beaches. And after only 5 days, they were able to start temporarily building harbors, allowing the Allies much needed access to the European mainland. And all told, the Allies unloaded over 2.5 million troops, 500,000 vehicles, and over 4 million tons of supplies over the remaining course of the war. And D-Day and the success of it would be a decisive point in the decisive turning point in the war. And less than a year later, on May 7th of 1945, Germany would sign their unconditional surrender. So this song, Jim Radford and his song, The Shores of Normandy, Jim was the youngest known participant in D-Day, being just 15 years old. At the time, he was serving as a galley boy on the merchant navy tugboat called the Empire Larch. And so this song, The Shores of Normandy, became his first and most successful song, as after the war he became a singer-songwriter and a peace campaigner and a community activist. In 2014, on the 70th anniversary of D-Day, he performed this song at the Royal Albert Hall in London, and this is the performance that I am going to watch with you all. The video was uploaded to YouTube on June 6th of 2014, and he is joined by the BBC Concert Orchestra. I tried to find when exactly he wrote this, and the best I could find is that he had returned to Normandy, I believe 20 or 25 years later, so it would have been the mid to late 60s. And he was overcome by the sight of the beaches and seeing kids playing in the sand, where the last time he was there, he had seen bodies laying in the sand. And he was overcome, and he wrote this song. So let's see what this sounds like. This is The Shores of Normandy with Jim Radford at the BBC and the Royal Albert Hall on June 6th, 2014. Here we go.
Tonight we are honoured to have a veteran of the Normandy invasion with us on stage. He was a crew member of a ship that set sail on the 6th of June, and at 15 he must have been one of the youngest there, so please welcome Jim Radford.
I should have just let them do the intro, y'all.
Jim, How do you feel today, seeing us all gathered and remembering these events?
Contrasting emotions, I think, glad and sad. I'm glad that I survived. I've had 70 years of a good life, and I'm very sad every time I think of D-Day about all the poor devils who never made it back. And that's the people I'm thinking about on this day and every year.
You went on to become
Lots of
folk
memories
singer.
we
We're
have
gonna
are
hear
happy and sad,
a song
right?
that Jim wrote about the day, which is called The Shores of Normandy. But just before you sing it, tell us how you came to write it, Jim.
It's actually the first song I ever wrote, and the clue to why I wrote it is in the last verse. I didn't go back to Alamanches till about 1960, and I didn't expect to be moved. But when I did go back and stood on the beach that I'd last seen covered in bodies and saw children building sandcastles, I wept. And that's when I decided to write the song.
Jim Radford and The Shores of Normandy.
Amazing. I've never gotten a chance to travel there. It's on my bucket list, though. That's 5.
In the cold grey light of the 6th of June, in the year of 44, the Empire Larch sailed out from Poole
The Empire Larch was
to
his
join with
boat.
thousands more. The largest fleet the world had seen. We sailed in close array, and we set our course for Normandy at the dawn.
The largest fleet the world had seen, we sailed in close array and set our course for Normandy at the dawning of the day.
There was not one man
To the
in all
minor,
our
A minor.
crew but knew what lay in store. For we had waited for that day through 5 long years of war. We knew that many would not return, but all our hearts were true. For we were bound for Normandy, where we had a job to do.
Oh, and cadence is in the major key, now back to minor. They're in C and A minor.
With a crew of 33.
A deep sea tug with a crew of 33. And I was just the galley boy.
On my first trip to sea.
Damn.
I little thought when I left home of the dreadful sights I'd see. But I came to manhood on the day that I first saw Normandy.
Beautiful.
At Aramount,
Sad.
off the beach of gold, neath the rocket's deadly glare, we towed our block ships into place, and we built a harbor.
Built a
there.
harbor. Invaluable
Mid-shot and shell,
to the war
we
effort.
built it well.
Mid-shot and
As
shell, we
history
build it
does
well, as
agree.
history does agree.
While brave
Man died in the swirling tide.
On the shores of Normandy.
It's the type of story song that can only be told by somebody who was there.
For every hero's name that's known, 1,000 died as well. On stakes and wires their bodies hung, rocked in the ocean swell. And many a mother wept that day for the sons they loved so well. Many cracked a joke and catch the smoke as they stormed the gates of hell.
It's beautiful orchestration.
As the years
Very
pass by, I can still recall the men I saw that day, who died upon that blood-soaked sand where now sweet children play. And those of you who were unborn, who've lived in liberty, remember those who made it so on the shores of Normandy.
What a gift. Amazing performance. The orchestra's not even done, and they rise to their feet. And the final chord's not even completed, and they couldn't help but respond like that. Wow. I love folk music, y'all. I love singer-songwriter music because of the storytelling involved in these songs. I love story songs, and what a story, right? Unbelievable, unbelievable. The last little stanza. As the years pass by, I can still recall the men I saw that day who died upon that blood-soaked sand where now sweet children play. So that's what he was talking about in the introduction. What a remarkable juxtaposition of a memory of a place. Can you imagine, being at sea and being a teenager and rolling up on this scene and there being thousands of people who had been killed already, and it being traumatizing and just imprinting on you, right? And you come back decades later and the same spot is clear and clean and young kids are playing in the sand. It's mind-boggling to me to try to empathize with an experience like that. He finishes it by saying, and those of you who were unborn, who've lived in liberty, remember those who made it so on the shores of Normandy. That's what we're trying to do, Jim. And we thank you for your song. My grandfather served in the Navy in World War II, but he was in the Pacific. And, as he got older, he told a few stories, but he was pretty tight-lipped about the whole experience. And it's one of the things that I wish that I could have heard more from my own grandfather was, what was it like? But he wasn't talking about that, not often. And I can understand why. The fascinating thing, though, about this that I'll leave you with, y'all, this song was, the performance that we just saw was in 2014. As I understand it, the song was written in the 60s. And he was brought back to sing this for the 70th anniversary of the invasion. The song was released as a single in 2019. Though, and they were seeking to raise funds for the Normandy Memorial Trust monument that commemorates over the over 22,000 men and women that were serving under British command who fell in the Battle of Normandy. And when they released it as a single, it went to the top of the iTunes and the Amazon charts in the UK, and it also charted in the United States, Germany, France, and Canada. So it's one that escaped me. I didn't hear about this story and about this song, but I am really happy to have learned about it here in the past week and gotten to experience it with all of you today. Sadly, y'all, Jim died on November 6th of 2020 from complications to COVID. What a I don't know. He talked about his feelings being complicated, right? I am happy that he had all these years after this to share with us some of his experiences and to make a difference in the world. But man, it's just a gut punch to know that after all that time, it was COVID that finally got him. But your legacy lives on, Jim, in your thoughts and in your deeds and in this song. And so we thank you. That's what good music can do, y'all. It can help explain, and it can help bring us into what it felt like to be in a historic situation, especially with these old school singer-songwriter style story songs. And on this anniversary of D-Day, let's hope that we never have to go through that kind of crap again. Okay, that's the thing that I am hopeful for and praying for. So we are thankful to all of those in our recent past who stood up to evil and put their lives on the line for the rest of us. And so we humbly and thankfully mark the anniversary of D-Day today. Thanks, y'all, for hanging out with me today. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I think we got the right song to help us out with it. So thanks to Mark for your recommendation, and thanks to all of you for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.